I'm 97 years old, and there's something I need to tell you before it's too late. Not because your doctor doesn't know it, but because most people don't want to hear it. After the age of 70, your body begins to change in ways that are almost invisible. No pain, no warning, no signal. Everything feels normal until one day it isn't. Sometimes it happens in a second, a small misstep, a moment of imbalance, and suddenly your life changes. I've seen this happen to people I knew, friends, neighbors, even family. Some of them stayed strong, others didn't. And the difference was never luck, it was awareness, knowing what was coming and preparing for it. So today, I want to share 5 things that begin to happen after 70, quietly, without permission, and what you can still do about them. Let me ask you to do something simple, right now, wherever you are. Stand up, take a breath, and gently close your eyes. Now try to stay completely still, not moving, not adjusting, just standing. Give it 10 seconds. And be honest with yourself. Did your body sway, even a little? Did you feel the need to reach for something or shift your weight to stay steady? If you did, then something has already begun to change. And the truth is, it didn't start today. It started quietly, months ago, maybe even years ago. You just didn't feel it. Because balance doesn't disappear the way people expect. It doesn't come with pain. It doesn't come with warning signs. It changes silently, in the background. Inside your body, there is a delicate system that tells your brain where you are in space. It helps you stand upright without thinking. It keeps you steady when you walk, turn, or step onto something uneven. But over time, that system becomes less precise. The signals become weaker, less reliable, and your brain begins to work with information that is slightly off. But here's the dangerous part. You still feel normal, completely normal. No dizziness, no sense that anything is wrong, which means you continue moving the same way you always have, unaware that your body is no longer correcting itself as quickly as it once did. And that's how it happens. One step that's just a little too far. One curb that's slightly misjudged. One moment where your body doesn't react in time. And suddenly, everything changes. Not because your body failed all at once, but because it had been slowly drifting off balance for a long time. Now here's what I want you to understand. This is not something you are stuck with. Your body can relearn balance, even now, even after 70, after 80, even beyond that. But only if you give it a reason. Balance is not something you keep automatically. It is something you practice. Every day. Small things, simple things. Standing on one foot while brushing your teeth. Holding steady for just a few seconds longer each day. These are not meaningless actions. They are signals. They tell your brain, stay sharp, stay aware, stay connected. And your body responds. It always responds. You don't need hours. You don't need complicated routines. You just need consistency. Because balance is not about strength alone, it's about communication between your brain and your body. And like any connection, if you don't use it, it slowly fades. But if you do, it comes back, stronger than you expect, and sometimes those few seconds of awareness each day are the very thing that keeps you on your feet years from now. Now let's talk about something even quieter, something most people don't notice until it's already taken too much: your strength. It doesn't leave you suddenly. It doesn't announce itself. It fades, slowly, quietly, almost politely. At first, nothing feels different. You wake up the same way. You walk the same way. Life feels normal. But small things begin to change. You start choosing lighter bags without thinking. You pause before climbing stairs. You push yourself up from a chair and notice your hands are doing more work than your legs. You don't question it. You adjust. And that's how it begins. Because every time you avoid effort, your body makes a decision. It says, if you don't need this strength anymore, I won't keep it. And your body is efficient. It doesn't hold on to what you don't use. So little by little, it begins to let go. Not in a dramatic way, but in a way that quietly changes your independence. And the most dangerous part is this: you don't feel weak. You just feel slightly less capable. And over time, that slightly becomes significant. Standing becomes harder. Lifting becomes uncomfortable. And things you once did without thinking now require effort. But here's the truth that many people never hear clearly enough. Your muscles do not care how old you are. They don't know your age. They only know one thing: whether you are using them or not. If you stop asking your body to be strong, it will stop being strong. But if you continue, even in small ways, it responds. Even now, even after 70, even after 80, your body still has the ability to rebuild. It may take longer. It may feel unfamiliar at first, but it works. Simple movements, a few minutes of resistance, using your own body weight or something light. Done consistently, day after day, that is enough. You don't need perfection. You don't need intensity. You need repetition. Because strength is not built in a single moment. It is built quietly, through small efforts that your body remembers. And here's something worth holding on to. The difference between standing up on your own and needing someone to help you is often just a small amount of strength. Not extreme strength, not athletic strength, just enough. Enough to carry yourself, enough to support your weight, enough to stay independent. And that enough is something you can protect, but only if you keep using it, because once strength fades completely, it becomes much harder to bring back. But while it's still there, even just a little, you have something to build on. So don't wait for weakness to show itself clearly, because by then it has already been there for a long time. Start small, stay consistent, and remind your body every single day that it is still needed, because your body listens, and it always responds to what you ask of it. Now there's something even more silent than muscle loss, something far more dangerous, because you won't feel it at all: your bones. You see, bones don't send warnings. They don't ache when they begin to weaken. They don't give you signs that something is changing. They simply become lighter, thinner, more fragile, quietly, day after day. And the most unsettling part is this. You can feel completely fine right up until the moment something goes wrong. It often happens on an ordinary day, nothing dramatic. You take a step, you misjudge something small, you lose your footing for just a second, and suddenly what should have been a minor incident becomes something serious, because your bones are no longer as strong as they once were. And sometimes the truth is even harder to accept. It's not always the fall that causes the damage. Sometimes the bone gives way first. It has become so fragile that it can no longer support what it once did, and then the body follows. Now let me tell you something that most people don't think about. The injury itself is only part of the story. What comes after is often what changes everything, because when the body stops moving, even for a short time, it begins to slow down in ways that are difficult to reverse. Strength fades faster, balance becomes weaker, confidence begins to slip away, and slowly independence starts to disappear. Not all at once, but piece by piece. That's why this matters so much, because bone health is not just about avoiding injury. It's about preserving your ability to live on your own terms. Now here's the part that gives you control. Bones are not fixed. They respond. They adapt. They listen to how you use your body. When your body experiences movement, when it feels pressure, when it senses impact, it understands something important. It understands that it still needs to be strong, and it responds by reinforcing itself. But when that signal disappears, when movement becomes gentle, limited, or avoided, your body makes another decision. It says, this strength is no longer necessary, and it begins to reduce it. That's how it works. Not suddenly, but steadily. So the question is not whether your bones will change. They will. The real question is, what signals are you sending them? Even small actions can make a difference. Walking with purpose, stepping firmly, engaging your body instead of protecting it too much. These are not just movements, they are messages. They tell your body, stay strong, stay ready, stay capable. And your body listens. It always listens. And then there is something else, something many people overlook. What you give your body matters, because your bones cannot remain strong without the right support. They need nourishment. They need the building blocks that keep them dense and resilient. Without that, even movement alone is not enough. Think of it this way. You cannot maintain a structure if you're not providing the materials it needs. So this is not about doing one thing. It's about understanding the whole picture. Movement, support, consistency. Because your bones are not failing you. They are responding to you. And every day, without saying a word, they are adapting to the life you are giving them. The question is, are you giving them a reason to stay strong, or are you slowly teaching them to become fragile? There's something else that begins to change as we grow older, something most people never think about, because they don't even realize it exists. It's your body awareness, the quiet connection between your brain and the rest of your body. Right now, without looking, You can lift your hand and touch your nose. You can take a step forward without watching your feet. You can move through a room in the dark and still know where you are. That's not luck. That's your brain holding a map of your body. A constant understanding of where your arms are, where your legs are, how high your foot needs to lift, how far your step needs to go. And for most of your life, that system works perfectly. But over time, that map begins to lose its accuracy. Not suddenly, not dramatically, just slightly at first. Your brain still believes your movements are precise, but the signals it receives are no longer as clear as they once were. And that's where the danger begins. Because now there is a small gap between what your brain thinks your body is doing and what your body is actually doing. You believe you lifted your foot high enough, but you didn't. You believe you cleared the step, but you barely touched it. You believe your foot landed exactly where you intended, but it landed just a little off. And sometimes that little off is all it takes. That's why people begin to trip over things they can clearly see. It's not their eyesight. Their eyes are working just fine. It's the internal communication that has become slightly misaligned, and the body, without realizing it, is no longer moving with the same precision. Now here's what I want you to understand. This is not permanent. This is not something that simply has to be accepted. Your brain can relearn. It can rebuild that map. But only if you challenge it, only if you give it a reason to stay sharp. Because just like strength, just like balance, this connection fades when it is not used, and it improves when it is. Simple movements, done with attention, can begin to restore that awareness. Walking slowly and deliberately, placing one foot directly in front of the other, feeling each step instead of rushing through it. Closing your eyes and reaching for something familiar. Standing still and sensing your body's position. These are not small exercises. They are powerful signals. They tell your brain, stay connected, stay accurate, stay aware. And your brain responds. It adapts. It sharpens itself again. Because it never truly loses its ability to learn. It just becomes quiet when you stop asking it to work. So this is not about doing more. It's about doing things with intention, moving with awareness, paying attention to your body again. Because when that connection is strong, your movements become safer, your steps become more confident, and your body begins to trust itself again. And when your body trusts itself, everything changes. You move differently. You stand differently. You live differently. Because you are no longer guessing where your body is. You know. And that knowing is what keeps you steady, even when life around you isn't. Now we come to something that doesn't begin in the body, but ends up controlling it. Fear. And this is the one most people underestimate. Because it doesn't appear all at once. It starts small. Maybe it's after a fall, or even just a moment where you almost lost your balance. Nothing serious, just enough to make you pause. And from that moment on, something shifts. You become more careful. And at first, That seems like a good thing. You walk slower. You hold on to furniture. You avoid certain movements. It feels like you're protecting yourself. But slowly, that carefulness begins to turn into something else. It becomes hesitation, and then it becomes fear. And fear doesn't protect your body. It changes how your body moves. Your steps become shorter. Your body becomes stiff. Your movements lose their natural rhythm. Instead of flowing, you begin to control every step. And that's where the problem begins. Because a body that moves naturally adjusts naturally. If you slip, it corrects. If you misstep, it recovers. But a body that is tense cannot adapt. It reacts too late or not at all. And suddenly, the very thing you were trying to avoid becomes more likely. That's the quiet trap of fear. It feels like safety, but it slowly takes away your ability to move freely. And over time, it takes something even more important, your confidence. And confidence is not just a feeling, it's physical. It changes how your weight shifts, how your feet land, how your body responds in motion. When you trust your body, it works with you. But when you don't, your body begins to reflect that doubt. It becomes cautious, slower, less responsive, and eventually less capable. Now here's something important. You cannot simply tell yourself not to be afraid. That doesn't work. Fear doesn't disappear because of words. It disappears because of experience, because of proof. When your body proves to you again and again that it can hold you up, that it can move safely, that it can recover when something goes wrong, then something begins to change. Not in your thoughts, but in your body. You begin to relax again. Your steps become more natural. Your movements become smoother. And slowly, confidence returns. Not because you forced it, but because your body earned it. That's the key. Fear is not something you remove. It's something you replace with strength, with balance, with awareness. And when those things come back, fear no longer has a place to stay. So if you feel it, don't ignore it, but don't let it control you either. Use it as a signal, a reminder that your body needs to be reminded of what it can still do. Because once your body remembers, fear becomes unnecessary. And when fear disappears, you don't just move better, you live better, with freedom, with confidence, and with the quiet understanding that your body is still capable of carrying you forward. Now listen carefully. I'm 97 years old, and I've learned something simple but powerful. People don't suddenly lose their independence. They lose it slowly, when they stop using what they still have. The body listens. If you stop moving, it begins to shut down. If you continue, it keeps responding. Balance, strength, movement, awareness, confidence. These are not complicated things, but they must be practiced every single day, even for a few minutes, because your future is built quietly through small actions repeated daily. So tomorrow morning, when you stand in front of the mirror, do one simple thing. Stand on one foot, just for a few seconds. That's where it begins, because your body is still listening. The question is, what are you telling it?